everyone, welcome back to part 2 of our GTA single player asset tutorial series. And what we're going to do now, in our last tutorial, we set up our little camera. And what we're going to do now is actually start to set up our animations and our turn to look at a certain direction. So first things first, we want to right mouse click and create a new animator controller. And we're just going to call this just a simple animator. And let's click on our player model and drag this guy out here. And drag this one out here. So that way you can see that's on there. And just click into the animator. If you can't see this, go to Window, Animator. And we're just going to look for an idle. And let's just click here. We're going to just leave that there. So then when you press play, he's going to go into an idle. Lovely. So what we're going to do now is start to build our character look at a certain direction system. So let's come under our player model and let's create a new empty object, and we're going to call this our character position compass, and then under that we're going to create a compass arrow. And then in that one, we're going to create a quad texture. And then we're just going to move that guy forward a little bit. Lovely. And then we're going to click on here on the character position compass. And we're going to create a new FSM. And we're just going to call this one just parent to player. And first things first, we're going to just say loading, and you can actually hold control and then click, and that will create a new state. And if you control click again on a state that's already been made, it creates a finish node, which is a little handy trick. And what we're going to do is on the loading, we're just going to create a wait, and we're going to wait for 0.1 seconds, and then we're going to say finished. And then in our other state, what we're going to do is we're going to call this one set character as parent. And we want to just set parent and also set game object. And let's just jump into this one. So we're going to set the parent as this variable. We're going to call this the animator obj, and we're just going to reset the local position and rotation, and we're going to set the game object as our player model, and we're going to set that animator object, and we're going to say every frame. Perfect. So that one's all set up. And next thing is going to be our input compass. So let's right mouse click back on our player model and let's rename this to input direction compass. And then under this one, we're going to do the same. We're going to create a compass arrow. And then inside that compass arrow, we're going to create another one, and we're going to call this quad texture as well. Perfect. And then inside this direction compass, we're going to have quite a lot of FSM stuff going on. So let's just call this input direction compass. Load this up. And we're just going to call this state look at input direction. So basically this state is going to allow our character, when we push right, he's going to turn to the right, and it's also going to take that based off which way the camera is pointing. So we're going to go and double click. We're going to go in here, and we're going to say iTween, and we're going to call this move update. Lovely. And we're going to say use owner, and the transform position is going to be our character position compass, and we're going to say 0. We're going to get another one. We're going to call this get axis vector, and all we're going to do here is we're just going to store the main camera. So wherever our main camera was in here. And we're going to store the vector as a input vector and the magnitude as input magnitude. It's always good to name everything. And this function is actually new in Playmaker 1.8.2, where you can create the variables right in here instead of going out to this screen, which is really handy. So that's why if you've got an older version and I'm not jumping backwards and forwards, that's why that's there. And then we're going to create this one, which is going to be smooth look at direction. And we're going to smooth look at direction at the input vector at the speed of 100. And that should be perfect. Alrighty, so now that we've finished setting up the input direction compass, we should be able to press play and check it out. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to split this view. And I'm just going to put that in 16:9. And then I'm actually just going to move this camera behind here so you can see what's going to be happening. And I'm going to click on the quad texture on the input direction compass. And basically what we wanted to achieve was when I push right on the keyboard, that direction compass moves that to the right. And you can actually see it's based off where I'm looking. So if I'm pushing forward to the side of the camera, it's all relative. And if I push back, it's all relative to the back. Left is relative to the left. So left, up, down. And you can actually do angles. So it's a perfect 360 calculator. So that is what we wanted to set up for this one. So that's great. So that means we are all ready to get started on the actual animation side of building our character. So that's what part 3 is going to be about. So thanks for checking out part 2. I hope you've enjoyed this look at how to create the input direction compass and character position compass. And catch the next tutorial next week. Thanks guys.